I remember the day I first met him, how his smile lit up the room, and how his laughter wrapped around me like a warm blanket. I was drawn to his charm like a moth to a flame, blissfully unaware of the darkness lurking beneath the surface. His name was Victor, and he swept me off my feet in a way I had only read about in fairy tales. But fairy tales rarely prepare you for the sinister twists of reality. As the days turned into weeks, I found myself pulled deeper into Victor's world, which felt increasingly suffocating. There was an intensity in his gaze that made my heart race. Was it passion or something more sinister? I brushed off the nagging doubts that crept into the corners of my mind. I had to believe in our love, even as whispers of unease haunted me. The day of our wedding dawned with a deceptive beauty, the sun shining brightly as if to bless our union. I stood in front of the mirror, my reflection a vision of white lace and delicate flowers. Victor's smile was radiant as he gazed at me, his charm wrapping around me like a warm blanket. Friends and family surrounded us, and I felt overwhelming joy. But beneath that joy lay a creeping unease, an instinctive sense that something was not quite right. As I walked down the aisle, my heart raced. Each step felt like a leap into the unknown. I glanced at Victor, his eyes gleaming with affection, but an intensity there sent shivers down my spine. I brushed off the feeling. This was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. The vows we exchanged echoed in my mind, promising love and loyalty, but deep down, I felt an unsettling whisper that these words masked something sinister. The wedding reception was a whirlwind of laughter and dancing, yet I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Victor moved through the crowd like a king, basking in the adoration of our guests, but I felt like a pawn in his game. As the night wore on, I caught snippets of conversations, hushed tones about missing people, flickers of concern that sent a chill through me. I squeezed Victor's hand, forcing a smile, but my mind raced with questions I dared not ask. Once we were alone in our honeymoon suite, the atmosphere shifted. Victor's charming facade melted away, revealing a man whose intensity bordered on possessiveness. He pulled me close, whispering sweet nothings that felt increasingly hollow. I was trapped in a gilded cage, the reality of our marriage settling in like a heavy fog. A growing dread overshadowed the romantic glow I had envisioned. But then curiosity got the better of me. I began to dig into his past, driven by an instinct I couldn't ignore. My search led me down a dark path filled with shadows of those who had vanished without a trace. Each name I discovered sent chills racing down my spine, and the more I learned, the more I felt like I was being watched. Victor's charming facade began cracking, revealing the sinister nature beneath. I recalled the late-night phone calls, the way he would tense up at the mention of specific names, the flicker of rage that crossed his face when I asked too many questions. I was a pawn in his game, and he was the master. I felt like I was suffocating, drowning in a sea of deception, yet I was terrified of the truth that lay beneath. The tension in our home grew palpable, and a thick fog of dread wrapped around me. I would lie awake at night, listening to his steady breathing, my heart pounding in my chest. What if I was next? The thought sent shivers coursing through me. I had to escape, but how? Each time I tried to distance myself, he would draw me back in with a charming smile and a soft touch, as if to remind me of the love I thought we shared. One night I stumbled upon a hidden room in his house, a place where the air felt heavy with secrets. As I pushed the door open, I was hit with the stench of decay, and my heart dropped. Inside, I found remnants of his past, items belonging to the missing people, objects that told stories I was never meant to uncover. I felt the walls closing in on me, my breath quickening as panic set in. I was caught in a web of lies, and Victor was the spider watching and waiting. I had to confront him, to piece together the fragments of his dark life. But the moment I mentioned the disappearances, I saw the shift in his demeanor. His eyes darkened, the charm replaced by a menacing glint. I realized then that I had awakened something dangerous that wanted to keep me trapped forever. The game had escalated, and I was no longer just a player. I was prey. The nights became a terrifying ritual of paranoia as I plotted my escape. I felt like a ghost in my own life, haunted by my choices. With each passing day, I could feel Victor's grip tightening, the walls of his twisted reality closing in around me. The wedding ring on my finger felt like a shackle, a symbol of the bond that had become a trap. I lived in constant fear, every smile he gave masking a threat, every tender touch a reminder of the darkness looming over me. The walls of our home closed in, a claustrophobic prison of secrets and lies. With each passing day, I felt the noose tightening around my neck. I had to escape his clutches before the wedding vows became a death sentence. The stormy night I chose to flee was filled with urgency. I slipped out of the house, heart racing, every shadow a potential threat. The adrenaline coursed through me, propelling me forward. I had to escape his clutches, unravel the truth, and find a way to break free from the sinister hold he had on me. The rain poured down, masking my tears, as I realized that I was not just running from him, but from the life I had thought I wanted. But even as I fled, I could feel him lurking in the shadows, a predator ready to pounce. My heart thudded in my chest, a relentless reminder that I was still entangled in his web. In this terrifying game of cat and mouse, I had to confront the darkness that resided in Victor and the darkness that had unknowingly taken root within me. The wedding day, meant to signify a new beginning, had transformed into a desperate fight for survival, and I would do whatever it took to reclaim my life.